Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of ZEFE. Today's opening bell, or how we call it in Romania, ZEFE, Deschiderea De Astăzi. Today, we're talking with CHRISTOPH BOSCHAN, chairman of the management board of the Vienna and Prague Stock Exchange Group. Christoph, hi, good morning.
Yeah, hi, good morning. Great to be on your show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for taking your time to be here. Christoph, let's see about some statistics, if you may, about Vienna Stock Exchange, so we can compare them with what we have in Bucharest.
Okay, statistics. Yeah, in terms of daily trading turnover, market capitalization, things like that. Okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, well, the daily turnover on our exchange currently fluctuates around 300 million on a day. Yeah. The overall market capitalization stays around 130 billion, I would say, comprising all the equity class. Bonds obviously are different. The vast majority of our trading originates abroad. 86% of the overall order flow originates abroad. The same actually applies for the structure of the shareholders in our blue chips. You have the usual suspects in the lead. You have the BlackRocks, the Vanguards, and so on and so forth. So quite a very international marketplace, and that is, I would say, a fundamental strategic aim of ours to really put our national leading companies on the international stage and to provide them with access to the international financial world. Obviously, they have refinancing needs that by far surpass what the domestic market would be capable of. And that leads to a very modern exchange that constantly strives to keep trading as standardized as you just find it in Frankfurt, London, and New York. There is actually no difference in the appearance of the accessibility and the trading reality of our exchange.
How many investors do you have in Austria?
Investors?
Yep.
In terms of retail exposure? Or what do you mean?
Retail exposure, number of investors, retail investors, institutional.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the usual composition of the shareholdership of an Austrian leading company pretty much equates to what you would find in the leading German companies. For instance, you have by far the US, not by far, you have the US in the lead. Then you have the next large group with Western Europe plus Great Britain, and then you have the domestic investors. Roughly a third from the US, 25% from Western Europe and UK, and roughly also another quarter from the domestic sphere, and the rest then is fueled from the rest of the world. In terms of retail exposure, if I remember correctly, recent polls have shown that we have nearly every fourth Austrian invested in either stocks or bonds or funds. That is quite a large number. It does not necessarily say enough about the exposure of these individual investors. The population in the stock market, it's quite high, with a third of the population. However, not necessarily when it comes to the individual in euro expressed exposure.
How do you attract companies to the market, new companies?
Yeah, I mean, that's a very broad question. I think we here share the same approach like many other exchanges. However, no. I have to say, as a rather mid-sized market, we have to be a little more active in that area. And what we really intensively provide is the accessibility of our specialized teams concerning that matter. We have a special department assigned for these activities. We conduct many lectures, meetings. We recently invited for a IPO bootcamp that we then organized together with leading auditing firms. So we are quite active in that sphere in terms of education, in terms of advocating for the actual sense of an IPO. And market structure wise, we also obviously structure the market accordingly. We have specialized segments in place for small and mid-sized companies. We have obviously then the fully fledged regulated market, but it is somehow in reflection of the very special needs according to the very individual nature of the company, where we then try to organize and structure the market accordingly. So ranging from entry segments with an exchange regulation that serves the needs of these rather small companies, then the prime market, a fully fledged segment with full reporting obligation due to EU regulation. The same applies, by the way, for the bond listing. You may know that Vienna is, in terms of self-regulated, exchange-regulated bond listings, #1 listing place in Europe. So we attract the most listings in that sphere, and also there we provide a certain customer-tailored service. We have an ESG segment in place, and we have quite an individual tailored solution ready for every need.
For instance, from the start of this year, how many listings were there?
That's a good question.
Do you have an approximate number?
In terms of bonds, I can tell you that it has surpassed already last year's record. So we're really speaking about thousands of listings that we attracted here. In terms of equity listings, I'm not that sure. I don't want to tell you wrong numbers here.
So that's like a couple of
listings. In the main market, that is something I can very clearly state. There has been no official floating in the main market. In the entry segment, I think we've seen listings, but I can't really tell you how many. But I think what is of real relevance and what your question is actually targeting is in the main market. There hasn't been a listing so far.
How come? What do you see in the market? Is the market frozen?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to floating at an exchange, we all know it is always the question of the right window of opportunity. I think the drastic changes on the debt side made the equity side more competitive, actually. So the equity listing side actually should gain some momentum. And I mean, we, just as all the other exchanges, and I think I guess the same applies for Bucharest too. Yes, there is a pipeline and there are candidates waiting in a queue. But as always, these candidates are usually today in the dual or triple track. So in parallel, they are seeking either for debt or are talking to the private equity sphere. Then it depends on the outcome of these of this research, which way they choose. We will see. I'm quite hopeful that we will see a listing even this year.
Just a bit of context for my next question, because you are one of the most powerful executive of a stock exchange in Europe, and you have a general overview regarding the entire markets. So my next questions, the $1 million points each. What does the Vienna Stock Exchange have that the Bucharest Stock Exchange lacks, and the other way around? How do you see these things?
Before I answer that question, I must emphasize that Adrian and Radu are doing just a fantastic job on your side in Bucharest. We have a very close relationship, even a friendship, I would call it. And also on a personal level, I'm deeply impressed how the whole of Romania is developing currently. And that may lead to the first thing that Bucharest has that we are lacking, and that is the prospects, I would call them. I mean, look at your country; it's thriving. It sees growth rates twice, even thrice as high as we see in the incumbent alleged Western world, and that, from a manager's perspective, makes me a little jealous sometimes. You have, in addition to that, a relevant home market. It is of significant size. It can actually serve and fuel also the development of the exchange, because it provides a relevant and large enough domestic investor basis if developed rightly. The other difference, I think, differences are obvious. I mean, there are differences in size, in market capitalization, in revenues and profits, also concerning the structure of the markets. Vienna is classified as a fully developed market in all dimensions. It's fully technically, regulatory, integrated into the incumbent international financial world. Bucharest has to go still some steps there. But again, this is only, and I'm absolutely convinced about that is only a matter of time, when these steps will be achieved, and when Romania will for sure find itself among the fully developed and fully fledged markets.
And that you somehow answered my last question regarding a message for the Bucharest Stock Exchange. So therefore, I can rephrase the question: how can we keep the momentum?
Yeah, I think. How do you keep momentum? I mean, what I do see from the activities the Bucharest Stock Exchange is conducting, they are doing just the right thing, keeping up with the standards of the international community. So I'm talking about the technical accessibility of the market, how the trading is technically organized. I think there is a certain sensitivity on your side to cope with these things, and things are developing in the right direction here. What also sometimes makes me a little jealous is a certain, at least that's my outside view. I don't know if that really fits the internal reality. But from my outside perspective, I must say, and that also makes me sometimes a little bit jealous, is a certain public and governmental support for the development of the market. And that obviously is of the essence in development of a market, particularly a market that really makes it through from frontier to emerging to developed. That is something you only can do with a comprehensive, I would call it comprehensive governmental support. And looking back to that really impressive hydroelectrica floating that we've seen, and that was very well recognized and perceived all over Europe, by the way, you should just continue to go down that path. Further striving for internationally connecting the market, particularly when it comes to hydroelectrica. What I hear from time to time is that it's not, and please, I'm just quoting anecdotally here, that might not fit the overall picture, but what I occasionally hear is that sometimes you can't not really seamlessly access the hydroelectrica share through the well-established international means. However, my usual answer is then always, then just use a local broker. I've done it, others have done it, so it is possible. But to further lower these barriers, and to really assure and fully align the appearance of the secondary market trading with international standards, I think that's of the essence. But I think that is on all levels, from the management of the exchange to the government, well understood in Romania.
And two questions regarding this IPO, Christoph, because last year it was the biggest IPO in Europe and the fourth largest in the world, and that brought us on the second place, if I'm not mistaken, as yields. Were you expecting the biggest IPO in 1 year to be in Romania?
Yeah, I think it was revealed today. I have seen it in my press review, and may you have seen it too. We have some indications that there's something appearing in Poland of significant size. So I would rather see the Polish in the lead so far.
Zapka, if the retail group. Yep. Christoph, what are your biggest unanswered questions regarding the market right now?
Concerning the market conditions in terms of valuation? Well,
yes, valuation, all-time heights, interest rates.
Yeah. Look, this question leaves room for my pitch for the Austrian shares, because what remains an unsolved mystery for me is the quite low valuation of Austrian companies. Average price-earning ratio currently stays at 7-8, which is actually half of what it is in the DAX or in the Euro stocks. And even if you take into account a little scale discount, because our blue chips are rather comparable with MDAX, not necessarily always with the DAX, then this is an unsolved mystery, because those companies, they are market leaders in their particular niche, or even as a global player. They have proven that they can adapt, and that they can adapt quickly, particularly to the turmoil that we've seen in Ukraine. They have proven, tested, reliable business cases. They are really profit generating real assets in the Warren Buffett sense, and still they are trading at such a low price-earning ratio. And as a reflection of that, by the way, dividend yields of up to 10%, double-digit dividend yields. So this is my constant pitch nowadays. Look at this market, and may explain that mystery to me, and the mystery is solved then soon by increasing valuations and a little catch-up to the European average.
Thank you very much, Christoph. There are a lot of connections between Vienna Stock Exchange and Bucharest Stock Exchange. I can name OMV, just one. We have OMV, Petrom. Here it was the biggest company until Hydroelectrica joined the arena, let's say. Thank you very much. Do you have any message for investors, for authorities, perhaps? Last time we've met in 2018, you've mentioned, do you want liquidity? Get some state-owned companies at the stock exchange, and you can after that you can bring private companies as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my general. I'm not in the position to give advice here. I can only, and I'd like to, come to the end of this interview with again a compliment. Just continue with the energy that you are currently applying, with all the professionalism that you are showing. Continue in opening up the market, and but this is not something I need to ask from Radu in particular, because we have a joint interest on the regulatory level, where we need a moratorium, and where we need little bit more of business orientation and a little less of regulation, because it's really it has become an unbearable tsunami. There we have a joint interest, and again, to end positively, I'm jealous about the future prospects and the growth rates that you are showing, and the future that is ahead of your market.
That's a headline, Christoph. Thank you very much, Christoph Boschan, Chairman of the Management Board of the Vienna and Prague Stock Exchange Group. Thank you very much for your time, Christoph.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you very much. And now for the closing remarks in Romania. Până data viitoare, fir întins la investiții câștigătoare. Numai bine!
Știu ce spun.
Un nou val de explozie a lovit Libanul. Pac! Faci material explozibil în device-uri, un serviciu secret până la urmă eficient.
Știu ce te interesează.
În spatele fiecărui ambalaj de plastic se ascund riscuri care ar putea să-ți afecteze sănătatea.
Avem plastic și în apă, și în mâncare, și în noi.
Știu cum să te fac curios.
Pentru influencer mesajul e clar. You shall not pass.
Mi se pare o ușoară ipocrizie acolo.
Când lucrurile devin deranjante, este evident că trebuie să-și ia și niște măsuri.
Știu cum să te emoționezi.
Ciclonul Boris nu a iertat nici România. 6 persoane au murit și 2 sunt date dispărute. Nimic nu a stat în calea apelor, mașini, animale sau case.
Știu să conving.
Neuralink a creat un nou device experimental numit Blindsight. Tu, care ți-ai pierdut vederea, vei putea vedea din nou.
E caz real ce ai văzut zilele astea în Liban. Cât de predispus ai fi să fii hackuit?
Știu să câștig.
Știu pe ce lume trăiesc.
Știu, deci știu.